One of the most interesting aspects of racing is the mental battle between drivers and how the actions of one influence the performance of the other. Today, we'll look at how you can do this in F1 2020. Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well today. My name is PJ and today we'll be learning how to influence our opponents in F1 2020. I'll be going over the things you need to know when chasing other drivers, how to plan your attack, and ultimately, what to do when it's time to make your move. If you want to learn how to get better at F1 2020 and other racing games, I have several guides available. You can subscribe to check them out, but for now, let's get started. Formula 1 has sometimes been described as the equivalent of playing chess at 200 miles per hour, and that's a pretty good analogy for what happens when you're locked in a heated battle with a well-matched opponent. When you race in single-player modes like Grand Prix, Career and My Team, the AI drivers can provide a worthy challenge. They race hard and race fair, but ultimately follow a strict set of rules and tactics to provide that experience. In multiplayer, however, your opponents are human players just like you, capable of thinking on the fly, adapting in real time, and being pressured into mistakes. These aspects are what we'll be focusing on throughout this video. It goes without saying that the tips and tactics we learn here are more advanced than simply getting around the track in one piece, so you will need some prior knowledge and experience to fully make the most of them. Before you focus on these, you will need to be able to confidently drive your car, understand the basics of racing line theory, the common ways to attack and defend a position, and the actions you need to take to avoid accidents. Fortunately for you, I have guides on all of these. I have linked them all in the pinned comment below this video, so go check them out if you need a refresher. The first step in influencing your opponent is to analyze their performance in real time as you follow them. As you approach a driver of similar pace, stay a few car lengths back and follow them for a lap or so. While following them, make mental notes of how they perform in each corner compared to your own approach. Are they leaving space on the inside of some corners? Do they brake earlier than you in others? Are they struggling to put down the power in some areas? Or do they always go for an inside pass on the car ahead? Patterns will eventually emerge, and you may spot some weaknesses that you can exploit when you make your move. It's these small gaps in their driving ability that may make the difference when you battle for position. Of course, sometimes you'll come up to an opponent that is significantly slower than you. If it's safe to do so, get past them as quickly as you can so that you can chase your real rivals further up the field. If you're the defending driver, it's much harder to analyze your opponent, as you need to look backwards and forwards at the same time. In this scenario, you're best off focusing on the road ahead and hitting your normal reference points. You don't want to be the one making a mistake and giving away the place for free. Give a glance back on the straights and check their gap to you, and watch the proximity arrows as you approach the braking zones. You won't have as complete a picture of their strengths and weaknesses as you would when chasing them down, but you should be able to pick up on the areas where they're likely to attempt a pass. Over time, you'll notice trends in driving styles as you face multiple opponents. This helps reduce the amount of time you need to spend learning their habits, letting you jump straight to the next phase, controlling them. Now that you have an understanding of your opponent and their habits, it's time to break them. Every driver has a preferred line and approach for a corner, and most will be weaker when they have to change that approach without warning. Your goal is to make their preferred approach as difficult as possible to achieve, so that they are pressured into mistakes and leave gaps for you to get through. One approach you can use to wear them down is to force them into defending thin air. This is done by signalling an overtake attempt into a corner, only to revert back to your normal line after they make the defensive move. With any luck, they'll have compromised their line through that corner, leaving you with an opportunity to get alongside on the next straight and make your real move into the next corner. One more tactic you can use is to shadow your opponent. This works best if you're slightly faster than them but not fast enough to make an easy pass. It's also a good tactic when battling for the lead. Get up close to your opponent, usually 1 to 2 car lengths behind, and simply follow them through every corner. Your constant presence in their mirrors will put significant pressure on them, and if they focus more on you than the road ahead, they'll make a mistake. When that gap opens, strike swiftly and pull away so that they can't retake the position. If you're on the defending side of this scenario and you sense that you're the one being shadowed, your goal is to not crack under pressure. Focus on the road ahead, hit your reference points for braking and turning, and keep the pace up. If you're quick enough, they won't find a way past, and will either make mistakes, fall behind, or get desperate. As always, be ready to defend when they make their move, and ensure there's enough space on the road for both of you to get around the corner safely. If you do get past, it's your turn to apply the pressure, so analyze, approach, and strike back when you can. As you race online in F1 2020 or any other game with online multiplayer, you'll come across players of varying skills and ability. Many of these can be beaten with the tactics we've discussed so far, but sometimes you will come across people with great skill, high levels of racecraft and fairness, and unbreakable mental strength. These are the best opponents to race against, ones that rarely show weakness and are a true test of your skills. They would be the equivalent of bosses in an adventure game, and you should enjoy the challenge when you come up against one, as even if you lose, you may learn something from the way they beat you. If you go toe to toe with them and force them to battle you, you may have a great and memorable race. Don't be afraid to send them a message afterwards, letting them know that you enjoyed the battle. Some may even be able to give you tips on how you can improve, and for more tips you can check out my guide on how to overtake cars with the video on screen now, as well as another video from my channel on the left. In the meantime, thanks for watching, liking and subscribing, and I wish you the best of luck in your next race.